Africa!
Nelson Mandela was a symbol of South Africa's struggle against apartheid. He was the nation's first black president, and he navigated its transition towards democracy. Mandela was born in 1918 and grew up in an era of complete segregation under apartheid. In his early days with the ANC, he was committed to non-violence, but in 1960, the organisation took a radical turn. That was the year of the Sharpeville massacre, in which police shot dead 69 unarmed protesters. In 1964, Nelson Mandela was sentenced to life imprisonment, accused of no less than 193 acts of sabotage. No one could have anticipated that behind the walls of Robben Island Jail, he'd become the most famous political prisoner of all time. This song, released in 1984 by the band Special AKA, became an anthem for the struggle against apartheid. South Africa's destiny was inextricably linked to Mandela's. When President F.W. de Klerk released him in February 1990, he ushered in a new era for the nation.
I must confess I'm unable to describe my emotions. I was completely overwhelmed by the enthusiasm. It's something I did not expect.
4 years later, Mandela was voted in as South Africa's first black president in the country's inaugural multiracial election.
Out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster that lasted too long, must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. Our daily deeds as ordinary South Africans must produce an actual South African reality that will reinforce humanity's belief in justice.
Mandela campaigned for reconciliation between South Africa's white minority and black majority. He got behind the Springboks, the national rugby team. In an apartheid era, it was boycotted internationally and reviled domestically by South Africa's black population. But Mandela, as president, sought to make it a symbol of national unity. When the team defeated the All Blacks on home turf and won the 1995 World Cup, it was a moment of personal and national triumph.
And you end up coming out of prison and there is no bitterness. How is there no bitterness?
Despite his retirement in 1990, Mandela maintained a public profile. Modest and self-effacing, he'd joke about his ubiquity.
Coach, you are retired. If that is really the case, then I should say, I now announce that I'm retiring from retirement.
But in recent years, Mandela's public appearances diminished. The world mourns his death, but he'll remain an icon of national struggle and reconciliation.